was here.
I agree.
I think, and that right there is a massive improvement on that front. You are listening to the Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys podcast. Sam Lubman and Joe Shasky and Joe Shasky's dog coming at you every week with all the best Giants content. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, reviewing, sharing all the time, because again, 2 times a week, sometimes 1, we're coming at you with some pretty good Giants content, mainly because the Giants are giving us lots of good content to work with. Shasky, we are about a month away from the Midsummer Classic, Major League Baseball's All-Star Game, happening at Safeco. Is it still Safeco Field? I still call it Safeco Field.
Yeah, it's
Safeco. I don't keep track of these name changes, but we are a month away from baseball's All-Star Game. I think we already know for sure that Camilo Doval is a lock to make the game.
Right.
But I'm kind of curious, who else might join him. So a couple weeks ago for the station, I kind of wrote about this, kind of saying, who could the Giants All-Stars be this year? I divided it into 5 very simple categories. You got your everybody gets one. No matter what, everyone gets one All-Star. That's probably going to be Doval. Okay. You got your locks. Those are the guys who write them in ink. They will be at the All-Star Game this year. You got your guys who should be in that they're played well enough to warrant a selection, but they might get snubbed. Guys who are on the bubble, or, guys, these guys have played very well. Maybe they get in, maybe they don't, but you're not going to shake a stick if they don't get in. And then you got your guys on the outside looking in. Those guys who have had great seasons, but you're not going to an All-Star Game right now. So that's kind of how I had divided it. I don't know if you want to use a similar system there, but outside of Camilo Doval, who would you say is the safest bet to join him on the sideline in Seattle?
I like Thairo Estrada. I think Thairo Estrada, defensively, number 1 rated player by advanced metrics, defensively at second base, and then offensively, he's been a catalyst for what they've done all year. They had a little scuffle when he was injured. The team just did not look as good. And I think that's because of his offensive jolt. So I'm going to go Thairo Estrada, though. I really believe that your boy Lamont Wade Jr. has an unbelievable opportunity to get into the race as well. His on-base percentage is phenomenal.
Yeah, I think Estrada is probably the safest bet there. Luis Arias out of Miami is probably get the start because he's flirting with 400 right now. Outside of that, it'll be interesting to see kind of who might bump Estrada out there. But yeah, it's the second base position. It's always kind of a weird one. I'm not totally sure who else would really get in there. The infield can be crowded in the National League. But yeah, Lamont Wade Jr., though, that's an interesting one because, again, you don't see a lot of leadoff hitters who play first base. That's not a leadoff position. He's
a good point.
He's not really, when you look at Lamont Wade Jr., you don't think of speed in the way you would, like, say, Estuary Ruiz with the A's or Ronald Acuna Jr. with the Braves, guys who they look like they're speedsters, but he's still got a little bit of scoot in there. Mm-hmm. But Lamont Wade's thing is, he gets on base a lot. He's got some good power in there.
Good defensively.
He's incredibly good defensively. The problem there is that first base is always super stacked.
Goldschmidt, the former MVP.
Yeah, Goldschmidt, Pete Alonso is going to be in there. So that's
Matt Olson, who's having a monster year.
It's going to be tough kind of cracking that numbers game. He would be an interesting one. And
what about Conforto?
That's another one where the outfield gets very crowded very quickly. And Conforto, I feel like I had him as a guy who maybe should be in. And I think he's definitely played well enough. He had that really hot stretch in the middle of May that I feel like is kind of carrying most of his all-star credibility.
Yeah.
I would like to see more of that Conforto to make.
What about JD Davis?
JD Davis is a guy who he should be an all-star. That's
Why?
The guy who I put. When you look, he is at the top of almost every single metric amongst third basemen. He's outplaying Nolan Arenado. He's outplaying some of the best third base. Aside from Max Muncy, no third baseman is playing an overall better game right now than JD Davis.
Okay.
The mix of defense and offense is just, and he's been a rock in the Giants lineup. Incredibly dependable. It sucks that he's going to be out for the next week or so with a sprained ankle. The problem with JD Davis is that he doesn't have that name recognition that usually the All-Star game likes. So he's probably not going to get the fan vote unless Giants fans kind of do what they did in 2012 and just overstuff the ballot box. Mm-hmm. Maybe he gets in on like the final vote kind of thing. But I think JD Davis, the fact is just people don't really know who he is.
Yeah.
And you kind of that's kind of where the All-Star game is. It about, the best players, or is it about the more popular players? Is it about the guys who
it's all of those things.
How much does last year come into focus? And that's why with the All-Star game, I'm glad.
Well, Fernando Tatis Jr. is one of the top vote getters. I mean, he was suspended for pretty much all of last year at the beginning of this year. I feel like he's getting in.
Yeah, no, he probably will because he is a popular player
Exactly.
who Major League Baseball tabs as he's going to be a guy who brings young fans to the park.
Yes.
And so as long as that's the case, yeah, guys like Fernando Tatis Jr., they're always going to probably be at the All-Star game and probably at the expense of a guy like a JD Davis. One guy I want to throw out there, this is one we've talked about quite a bit, is Logan Webb. Can Logan Webb find his way into the All-Star game? I know I've been banging this drum. I know where do you stand on that right now?
Look, you guys can all tell me that win-loss record doesn't matter, but it does. To me, it does. I mean, you're winning the game, giving your team the lead, handing the ball late in games still matters. Can the bullpen blow it? Yeah, but he's got 6 losses, right? He's under 500 right now, I still believe. 5-6, is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Even if it was reverse 6-5, I still don't think he gets in. There's just it's crowded. I mean, you got Spencer Strider, who's blown away right now, just been absolutely phenomenal. Clayton Kershaw has been phenomenal. There are a lot of starting pitchers.
Yeah, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly in Arizona, they're tearing it up.
That being said, maybe he's a sub. I don't know.
That's what I kind of think would be the case with Logan Webb too, because you look at the All-Star roster construction, you're probably figuring at least 7 or 8 starting pitchers are going to be selected. So you got to figure, okay, the 8 best starting pitchers. Right now, I think Logan Webb's in that 9 to 12 range in terms of National League starting pitchers. So that's where I think the subs really kind of come in.
And then what about like when a team like the Rockies, who's going to be the Rockies?
Yeah.
That's I don't even know if they have someone who's a starter that would qualify, but like, last year, Mantiply got it from the bullpen from Arizona. He was not an all-star last year, but he was their all-star nod, and he was out of the bullpen. Could a crummy team, Chicago Cubs,
Yeah.
Could it be Marcus Stroman or Liam Hendricks, even though they're not really deserving, but you have to fill that spot.
I think, that's probably going to be a numbers game that forces Logan Webb out of the All-Star game. The one saving grace, I think, for Logan Webb is that anyone who pitches on Sunday obviously is not eligible to take part in the game. So every year there's at least 1 or 2 starting pitchers who end up getting the call on Sunday. They still toe the line in the game on Tuesday night, but they're not going to pitch in the game. And that's I think Logan Webb's best chance to make it in is someone like Spencer Strider or Zach Gallen. They pitch on that Sunday, and Logan Webb, I think, should be one of the first 3 or 4 pitchers who are called to replace those guys. I think that's his best hope there. Lastly, Alex Cobb, do you think he can find a way to kind of get into the game? He's got to a great start. I feel like he's kind of slowing down a little bit, though.
No. Now we're reaching. We're reaching the bottom of the barrel. That's reaching. Don't hurt yourself. You're going to hurt your oblique. You're going to end up on the DL like Mitch Haniger.
No, we're fishing around the bottom of the barrel. I can feel the bottom of it there. The last name I want to throw out there, he has no shot of getting into the All-Star game, but I do think he deserves some sort of a shout-out for how well he's pitched this year. It's Tyler Rogers.
I agree. I would love to see 2 bullpen guys get picked, Camilo and one other, because that would really, to me, exemplify what really has happened for the Giants in the first half. The bullpen has carried the staff.
Yeah. And Tyler Rogers, again, I've always been a fan of Tyler Rogers. We always talk about our Bonte and I's famous civil discussion about Tyler Rogers. But my thing is, I love a good submariner.
You do.
I hated Young Kim when I was a kid, watching him when he was pitching the Diamondbacks. I was so jealous of A's fans that they got to enjoy Chad Bradford. I always enjoyed watching Brad Ziegler pitch. When you have a good submariner, it's just so cool.
You did not go Brad Ziegler.
I did go Brad Ziegler. It's fun to watch submariners.
You know what?
When you have a good submarine pitcher, it's just so cool.
I know.
It just is. And so Tyler Rogers, if the Giants were like, 25-45 right now or something like that, just an abysmal going nowhere team, Tyler Rogers is probably your all-star.
I agree.
But the Giants, unfortunately, they're good enough to where they have other guys who can rep the team.
Look, how excited are you for this Dodger series coming up?
Oh, I was just about to get into it because the last time the Giants played the Dodgers, it was not a pretty sight. They took 2 or 3, and the Giants looked like they were not in the Dodgers league.
I agree.
This is a completely different Giants team now. And going into LA, Dodgers, their bullpen is bigly scuffling right now. Their bullpen's got a 4.90 ERA on the season, Shasky. That's the second worst in baseball.
Wow.
Behind just only the A's have a worse bullpen right now.
Wow.
And that is not a bullpen you want to have in your company. The Giants, for the most part, their bullpen is all around better than the Dodgers. Fielding independent pitching, Giants 8th in the league, Dodgers 24th. Giants much better at leaving guys on base. Their bullpen is 71%. Dodgers 69%. So they're close there. Batting average against, Giants are holding hitters to 226. Their bullpen is. The Dodgers bullpen is 255, which is second worst in baseball, behind the A's and above the Nationals. Like, this bullpen is a big train wreck right now. And the Giants are a team that's doing some damage in the late innings right now. I'm excited because I think you have a chance to really make a statement in this series if you can take 2 or 3 against the Dodgers.
I'm 100% with you. And to me, you're feeling the tide of the entire NL West shift this year. Padres and Dodgers, we thought were going to be the teams for the formidable future. Is it the Arizona Diamondbacks followed by the Giants moving forward?
And I was actually just about to pose that same question to you, Chassis. Do you still look at the Dodgers as the standard bearers in the West? I asked Farhan this question in the end of the season presser last year. How do you close the gap? And the first thing he said was like, yeah, the Dodgers, they set the standard in the NL West. So
right now, Corbin Carroll is the MVP. To me, he's the MVP of the league right now. I would take him as
at least
an
in
MVP
the NL
candidate.
West right now. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, maybe Acuna gets in there, but Sean Murphy's going to be. Yeah, I agree. Corbin Carroll is that dude right now.
He's amazing. He's so much fun to watch. He's a hybrid of Jacoby Ellsbury, Kenny Lofton, and my guy Grady Sizemore. I mean, he's all my favorite players rolled into one.
Yeah. I'm not ready quite yet to declare the Dodgers dead as the standard bearer in the NL West because they still have one of the best farm systems in baseball.
I know.
They can still acquire anybody they want at the trade deadline without giving up one of their top 3, 4, 5 prospects. They have a system in place to where you're seeing with James Outman, they're just going to keep seeing guys like that. These guys who just come out of nowhere of their farm system and then just start playing really, really good baseball. And a lot of people, I think, like to point out the Dodgers offseason. Oh, they're slowing down. They're not as good anymore. They're kind of scaling things back. The reason the Dodgers did not spend a lot of money in the offseason is because they are getting ready to drop the fattest check imaginable on Shohei Ohtani this winter. And I say this to anybody who will listen to me. I fully expect Ohtani to be a Dodger next year. And when that happens, are the Dodgers the standard of the NL West still? It's not even going to be a conversation because they will still be the standard. I know. I hate it too. I feel gross just saying it. But I feel like if you're a Giants fan, the sooner you can come to terms with that, the better off you're going to be. That's just where the Dodgers, they are an evil empire. I call them the Death Star. They are a Death Star. They're going to keep being a Death Star for the foreseeable future. I think that's just where they're at right now. They're a very well-run and deep-pocketed organization. And, you see with the Padres, they could be running out of cash a lot sooner than I think they expected. The Arizona Diamondbacks have we ever looked at the Diamondbacks and be like, oh yeah, look at the money bags they got. The Dodgers, they have the resources to outlast the Padres and Diamondbacks. The one team in this division that I think can match them resource for resource, it's the Giants.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I think you're right. But I just think the Diamondbacks have been very fiscally responsible and they're building something special. I really do.
Oh yeah, they very much.
And I think because they're Arizona, we laugh at them, but I don't know. I really like what they're doing right now. But I love where the Giants are at.
I do. So this a very fun weekend coming up in LA. Quite the pitching matchups we have announced right now. Shasky, you ready for this? So Friday night's game, we got TBD going against TBD. Run's gonna be at a premium there. Saturday, we got TBD going against Bobby Miller, who's only made a few starts. He's 3-0 with a .78 ERA and 23 innings pitched. Another one of those farm system guys that the Dodgers love making Giants fans miserable with. And then Sunday, it's TBD going against Tony Gonsolin. So
TBD against Tony Gonsolin.
A little bit of gamesmanship here by the Giants, or it's because we just don't know who any of their starting pitchers are right now. Maybe Sean Manaea gets a start this weekend. I guess maybe that could be our final thought. Does Sean Manaea get a start this weekend?
About time. Let's see him do something.
Yeah, I would like to see him too because, again, he's been pitching well enough. And, again, the Giants might not have any choice but to
that's a good point.
Starting rotation. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully the Giants can take 2 or 3 against a scuffling Dodgers bullpen. Dodgers bullpen threw a 4-2 lead against the White Sox on Wednesday night. It's not pretty. Dave Roberts said after the loss last night, it's very frustrating and they have to do better. It's not workload. It's not the wrong lanes or the right lanes. It's they need to be better, period. That's what Dave Roberts said last night after the Dodgers bullpen blew a 4-2 lead and wasted a gem from Clayton Kershaw. And the Giants don't get to see Clayton Kershaw this weekend. It's a miracle.
It really is a miracle. Christmas miracle.
It really is. So anyway, for Joe Shasky, I am Sam Lubman. This is the Garlic Fries and Baseball Guys podcast. We will be back next week to talk about this Giants-Dodgers series and then a big homestand against the Padres and Diamondbacks on the other side. So until then, we will see you on the next one.